They had the whole thing staged, and there's such hysteria they're trying to create that when a steam main blows up in New York, everybody panics and starts evacuating. That when a gas main blows up in New Jersey, everybody panics. There's now been a bomb threat. Put that back on screen. They've diverted a plane with a supposed Flight 741 diverted to Utah after bomb threat. And so we'll have more and more of this fake federal stuff. Before the anthrax attacks, the feds did drills, this was declassified, where they mailed fake anthrax to hundreds of federal locations to create a system of mind control and fear in their own minions before the feds themselves mail the most weaponized anthrax ever seen. And then I said in the last year, they're clearly prepping Austin for staged terror attacks. And then it turns out the feds were trying to get their operatives to firebomb Brave New Books.
You're the devil in disguise.
The point I was trying to make as we hit break is they had a federal informant tied to the Palestinian man that bound himself, slit his throat, cut his body open, and threw himself in the river. He was murdered, and the police said he committed suicide. It's like up in the Arkansas when people would cut their arms and legs off and blow their own heads off and bound their bodies, and the police would say they killed themselves. Then this same informant who was running around with him reportedly, and it's been confirmed, it's just so much is happening, tried to provocateur people at the RNC in 2008 to Molotov cocktail. And he admitted to that. And then he reportedly tried to get local activists to firebomb Brave New Books that one of my listeners started that's a Patriot bookstore. And with the firebombing of the governor's mansion, that was clearly an inside job. I've said I believe Austin's going to be the target of the next false flag. And they're now saying this was a terror attack. They're almost sure against the IRS building. And then meanwhile, I knew if we saw a bunch of stuff happen, this is staged. United Flight diverted to DIA after passenger attempts to open door in midair. This just came out. Flying out of D.C. to Las Vegas. Tried to depressurize it. That's Associated Press and Huffington Post and Denver Post. Here's another one. Flight diverted to Salt Lake after bomb threat. David, it appears a massive psyop is being launched. There's no way and they had 2 airplanes crash yesterday, one into the car manufacturing building, the Tesla building, knocking out power to Palo Alto. We now have a plane crash yesterday into a neighborhood in the panhandle of Texas, Amarillo. I mean, what is going on, David?
It's very simple. What's been going on, and it's now getting more extreme because, like I said earlier, they're getting more desperate. Quite simply, you've got an agenda which they've been trying to bring in step by step for a long time, but before what we call modern times. It's been a long step-by-step process. We're just seeing the end game coming up to it now, the end that they want to bring about, which is a global fascist dictatorship and a robotic, mind-controlled, microchipped, machine-like humanity and world government and centralized control of everything, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the agenda. Then running alongside that is what I've been calling for years the movie. This is the manufactured view of the world, including all the manufactured false flag events, like what it seems that we're seeing here now. It's getting ridiculous. This is the movie to sell the agenda to the public and to justify its introduction. And because the public now, not in everybody or nearly everybody, my goodness, if only, but increasingly vast numbers of people are starting to see the movie for what it is, a movie, something for public consumption and public perception manipulation. As a result, they're getting more desperate. Oh my God, we've got to up the ante. And so, and the other thing that happens as a result of that, Alex, is that it becomes more and more blatant. I mean, they think it's something that is they need to do, and something that's good, and something that will advance their agenda quicker. But the way they're doing it now in this desperation is it's becoming more and more blatant. So that more and more people are going to be asking questions. More and more people aren't going to believe them. I mean, we're in a situation now after the last year. I mean, how many people believe that they're being told the truth about the climate change? Virtually no one. What will happen the next time the pharmaceutical cartel, Big Pharma, and the World Health Organization tries to sell us a vaccine scare or a virus?
And let me stop you. Let me stop you.
It's falling apart for them. They're a cornered rat, so they're going to really get more extreme and more desperate. We're going to see a lot of desperate and extreme things as a result, but it's falling apart for them.
Well, David, I wanted to back you up. Not only do we have Wolfgang Wodarg, the head of the EU Health Commission, saying it's all a hoax, a fraud, dangerous vaccine was a lie, staged. The government admitted, okay, it turned out the swine flu vaccine didn't help you, and it was fake. That came out yesterday like it was no big deal, that it didn't even protect you. We already knew that. Their health care takeover is falling apart. It seems that corralling us like prisoners, and I want to ask you about this when we come back, corralling us like prisoners, these body scanners, this act of supplication, of submission, of breaking us, letting them know they're violating child porn laws to videotape children with these scanners, their naked bodies, that sets the precedent. Now Homeland Security says they want to put shock bracelets on everyone. They looked at it 2 years ago. Now they're saying if people are going crazy and trying to depressurize planes, we've got to do this. Why are these body scanners so key to what they're doing? And we're going to have our reporters from the ground at the kamikaze site. David Icke's our guest for another hour. We've got reporters out at the kamikaze attack site. The government's saying the guy burned down his house, crashed this plane into the building, IRS/FBI building complex, the Echelon complex. Talk about in your face, the name of the big surveillance grid. Joseph Andrew Stack, named as plane crash pilot. Man sets house on fire, crashes plane into Texas building report. We reportedly, Paul Watson has this, is posting it now at prisonplanet.com. It's being pulled off the reported places where he posted it. We'll find out if the Providence is real, but we're going to post it right now at prisonplanet.com, his supposed suicide note. And, of course, the feds could write this up, drug him, put him in the plane, remote control it, and it's normally staged. You have this person trying to open a plane door today. You have somebody else with a bomb threat on a plane. This is really looking like a massive psyop. We'll ask David Icke, who's an expert on this, why they want to create this feeling of hysteria and fear. So we then go to the government begging them to keep us safe. They're the big daddy. He said, no taxation without representation, reportedly. I've spent total years of my adulthood unlearning the crap from only a few years of my childhood. These days, anyone who really stands up for principle is promptly labeled a crackpot, traitor, or worse. Yet at the same time, the joke we call America medical system, including the drug and insurance companies, are murdering tens of thousands of people every year and stealing from the corpses and victims they cripple. I'm reading over this right now. It is lengthy. David Icke, again, I apologize to David, but I talked to David as a former top BBC reporter. He understands this. We have to cover it as it breaks. I know he's got to leave in an hour. I may twist his arm to stay longer, but we'll see what happens. I've got Paul Watson on the line briefly, writing on this right now. It's going to, I guess, have the headline, Purported Suicide Letter of Austin Kamikaze Attacker, or Austin Plane Attack. Watson, I know it's going up in the next few minutes at prisonplanet.com. Tell us exactly where you got this. Reading over it, the feds could have written this. He could have. It looks like something someone would write. Where did you get this info, Watson?
Well, all I've been doing is typing in Austin plane crash into Google and then refreshing every few minutes. And this came from a blog which carried the purported pilot's name as Joe Stack, and now that's been confirmed by the authorities. That his
all right,
name is
get it up.
Andrew
Then get
Stack.
it up. I'm going to let you go then. Get it up with that basic breakdown that this same site said that one of his reported family members was on KLBJ, confirming this as well about 30 minutes ago. Anything else, Watson?
No, obviously, in his screed, he rants about totalitarian regimes and tax codes and everything that we talk about. I wonder what the media is going to do with this.
We need listeners, because we don't have the staff, to go back in the last 2 months It was actually December 8th is when I said they're going to stage a terror attack in Austin. And I even talked about planes flying into buildings. I don't know how I know this stuff. It's just incredible. Anything else, Watson?
Well, it doesn't even matter if it's staged. It's how they're going to exploit it, and that's obvious. And it'll start tonight on the news shows.
But, Watson, you tie this in with a bomb threat on one plane diverted, another passenger reportedly trying to open the door and depressurize, and all this hysteria. I mean, and this looks bad. This looks like it's staged on the heels of the underwear bomber. Anything else?
No, his entire letter is going to be posted now at prisonplanet.com.
All right, write a basic analysis at the top and why we believe the Providence may be accurate. In fact, it's leaning towards being real because, again, this other blog was able to ascertain his name. Get it up. Give them credit as well. Thank you, Paul Watson.
All right, thanks so much.